She says that Justin Timberlake cheated on her and she cheated on him. And it's who she cheated on him with that should be impacting a different major news story, but is not, because the news media is broken and it is filled with a bunch of complete morons who are not capable of independent thought. What I'm referring to here is that Britney Spears has confirmed the long-held rumor that she cheated on Justin Timberlake with Wade Robson. Now, the Wade Robson name may or may not ring a bell with you, but if you follow the Michael Jackson case even a little bit, you know who Wade Robson is. Wade Robson is the star of the HBO, I don't even call it a documentary, it's a mockumentary, a joke, it's a fictional movie, a fantasy movie, it's even a pro-pedophilia fantasy movie that alleges that Michael Jackson was a serial pedophile, and it stars Wade Robson and another guy by the name of James Safechuck. Now, Wade Robson is a very interesting character here. And his story in Leaving Neverland is that and of course it changes all these accounts do that are bogus. The dates change. There's all sorts of problems. There's contradictions. The behavior of his mother that I've caught his mother in, makes no sense. For instance, Wade Robson announced many years after being a huge Michael Jackson fan, after testifying on Michael Jackson's behalf at his criminal trial, he announced on the Today Show in an interview with, you guessed it, Matt Lauer, that he was actually sexually abused by Michael Jackson. Now, at the time of that interview, Matt and I were not friends. We were still adversaries, but Matt's producer actually contacted me to find out what I thought of the Wade Robson Matt Lauer interview, because I've now learned that Matt had some serious reservations about whether or not Wade was telling the truth. Well, I can assure you, Wade Robson was not telling the truth. And here's his story in Leaving Neverland. Okay. And this is why the Britney Spears revelation matters. So we are now led to believe, if Leaving Neverland is true, that Wade Robson, his general story is that he was sexually abused by Michael Jackson for 7 years, basically from the year he was 7 to 14. Brutal, horrible sexual abuse by a man at his most formative years, Wade Robson. Now, forget the fact that every single bit of his behavior is completely contradicted by the idea that he was sexually abused by Michael Jackson, or the fact that he has a massive incentive to lie because he lost out on the job as a choreographer on the Michael Jackson Cirque du Soleil show in Las Vegas. And all of a sudden, that's when he turned and then went on the Today Show to become a victim and is suing the Jackson estate for over $1 billion and all of that. I just want you to go with his allegation and how little this makes sense in the real world, especially now that Britney has confirmed this rumor. Because use your brain for a second. Wade Robson, sexually abused from 7 to 14, has an affair with Britney Spears at the height of her fame, just a couple of years after that abuse stops. As a minor, at best, celebrity. He was known because of his relationship with Michael Jackson. But Britney Spears is a goddess. And she's dating Justin Timberlake. I am sorry. There is no way possible, given if anything we've been told about the impact of child sex abuse to this extent over this extended period of time, the impact that has on a male's psyche, there is no possible way that Wade Robson is getting Britney Spears when she is dating Justin Timberlake. From a confidence standpoint alone, there is zero chance of that happening. Zero. And you know what else is really extraordinary? Is that Wade was apparently cheating on somebody else when he was with Britney cheating on Justin Timberlake. You know who Wade was cheating on? a woman by the name of Brandi Jackson. Brandi Jackson is Michael Jackson's niece. They dated for several years, first in a puppy love situation, and then apparently in a very romantic circumstance while they were teenagers during the exact same time of the alleged abuse that Robson was suffering at the hands of Michael Jackson. And you know who set up Brandi Jackson? I know this because I've been to the Jackson house. I've interviewed Brandi Jackson extensively about this. She is incredibly credible. Michael Jackson set up Wade Robson and Brandi Jackson. So we're to believe this is the Wade Robson narrative. This is the star of an HBO movie that the media and Oprah Winfrey completely and totally embraced as being obviously truthful. We're to believe that Wade Robson was sexually abused for 7 years by Michael Jackson. Never told anybody, never told Brandi. Was dating Brandi during this entire period of time. Was dating her after the abuse allegedly stopped. And the reason why it has to stop is because the narrative is that once you hit puberty, Michael Jackson wasn't interested anymore, even though the dates, especially for James Safechuck, the other accuser in the Leaving Neverland case, don't add up at all, because you got to believe he was being sexually abused till 16 and he was much taller than Michael Jackson at that time. I mean, none of this makes any goddamn sense. But facts don't seem to matter anymore. But here's the Wade Robson narrative is sexually abused at 14 while he's dating Michael Jackson's niece, who was set up by Michael Jackson. He's still dating Brandi. And then he suddenly is able to figure out a way to get in bed with Britney frickin' Spears while she's dating Justin Timberlake. Really? Really? And he never told Brandi. He never told Britney. And we know he never told Britney. One, because it's not in the book. And also, when the Leaving Neverland movie came out, Britney posted a video of herself dancing on Instagram or wherever the hell it was to a Michael Jackson song. Now, everybody knew she was connected to Wade Robson at that time. Wade Robson was in the news. And I agree with those that interpreted that as a statement by Britney Spears on behalf of effectively Michael Jackson's innocence, and saying, without saying it, Wade Robson is full of shit. And by the way, Britney Spears and Michael Jackson famously did a duet together at an awards show well after this would have gone down. So Britney would have had all sorts of reasons to suspect Michael Jackson was no good, and instead has never shown any indication of that whatsoever. So I defy anybody to put together a remotely rational narrative that is consistent with Wade Robson actually being sexually abused by Michael Jackson. And that's before we get to all the contradictory statements and the things that he said after Michael Jackson died, praising him up and down and writing a blurb in a pro Michael Jackson book and all sorts of again, not just testifying on Michael Jackson's behalf, being the first witness of Michael Jackson's defense, put up there by Tom Mesereau, a brilliant lawyer, a guy I know well. There's no freaking chance in the world Wade Robson would have been on the witness list, nevertheless the first witness. And I'm pretty sure Michael Jackson would have told Tom Mesereau, maybe we shouldn't put him up there on the stand. I just got a weird feeling about this. But none of that happens, because Wade Robson is a fucking liar and a fraud. And the Britney Spears book further proves that, and yet nobody other than me will ever mention this. Although I will say that when I tweeted about it, Brandi Jackson was one of the first people to respond and said, well said, Sigmund Freud. And I felt like that was pretty good vindication when the guy who was dating Wade Robson, when he cheated on her to be with Britney Spears while Britney Spears was with Justin Timberlake. I feel like that's pretty good sourcing. Feel pretty confident about that. One other entertainment related story that's not really